Welcome back to Behind the Mic, the spiritual deep dive episode of Radio Theology. And guys, it's the week of September 15th. And all week long, we remind all show long, we kept reminding you that it was
Spiritual DNA Sunday.
You want to hear it again?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Spiritual DNA Sunday.
It's nice.
It is good. It is. Makes me
intense.
excited. It is. It makes me excited about the fact we're doing spiritual DNA. But hey, if you don't like the super intense one,
Yeah.
like you want something like old school,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you can get this. Check this one out. Just a second. Let me pull it up here. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. It's kind of like this.
Spiritual DNA.
Wow. Who wrote those jingles?
Oh, I love it.
Sounds like your voice.
That's tasty.
Here's
Sounds like someone who's actually living out his own spiritual DNA,
It does, Lisa.
creating these
Maybe
pitchy little
you
things.
spent years in an a cappella group,
Mm-hmm,
suffering in an a cappella group.
Did you know that's a major 9 chord?
It is a major 9 chord.
Oh, you cheated. He said that before.
I know.
F major 9.
Hey, here's my challenge. I'm gonna play it, and I want you to do it like an old timey commercial. Ready?
What do you mean?
This is your intro
Oh,
for your
okay.
old timey commercial.
Okay.
I want you to listen to this in black and white.
Okay.
Okay. So as you're listening to it, I want you to listen to this in black and white.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes.
Like when I heard this, I heard it in black and white.
Okay.
So listen in black and white. Ready? Here we go.
Spiritual DNA.
Are you tired of not knowing your life's purpose? Are you waiting for God to wake you up to who He designed you to be? Well, just come to Spiritual DNA Live. Sign up now at spiritualdna.me.
Spiritual DNA.
From the makers of Radio Theology.
That was awesome, dude.
So
Thanks, bud.
good.
On the spot.
Why,
Thank you
why
very
did they
much.
talk like that in the 40s? I mean, there's
Yeah.
literally no reason.
Everybody had
But they
that
all kind of
affected,
sound-
like,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe it's because we weren't in a country, hadn't been a country that long, and we still had some of the English roots in us or something.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just making stuff up.
That's
People like
fine.
to sound snooty.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, this whole show, we most of the show we dedicated. It was Spiritual DNA Sunday because we have our last live workshop of the year
That's right.
happening this Saturday. If you're able to drive or get to Indianapolis, Carmel, Indiana specifically, Saturday morning, we'd love to have you there. SpiritualDNA.me is where you buy the online course. Summer 70 is the discount code, promo code that gets you $70 off. And the way it works is you buy the course, you take the assessments, you watch the videos, so you know what's up, you know who God's created you to be, and then you come to the live workshop for free, and it's a full day of unpacking.
It's an amazing deal.
It
Like, we're
is.
taking $70 off, and we're letting you come to the event for free.
Right. Which
That-
includes
that's
free lunch
amazing.
and snacks.
Why aren't
Right.
you signed up?
Yes.
Why?
I don't
And
know what else we could say.
I know what we could say.
Spiritual DNA.
Oh, it sounds so good.
It does sound good. Every time I hear it, I get excited. Anyway,
Say it again.
say it again. Oh my gosh! You know what? We
Oh,
had
man.
we had some great Spiritual DNA alumni call in this week
We
and
did.
just share some of the impact that the course has had on their life. And it's not about the course. I mean, I was talking with a guy this week about it. It's not like, oh, it's the course, it's the course. It's not the course.
No.
What the course has in it is so much biblical truth about who God is and about who you are because of who God is
Correct.
and
Yeah.
who you are in Him. Like the deal is really about God. He's the one doing this really cool life change for people. But what we do feel is that the course does take you through a progression of small little awakenings.
Yep.
Of realizing that you make sense and that God is somebody who can absolutely be trusted because of the care and concern of the way He put you together, from your personality to the way you connect with others, the way you connect with God, your voice and leadership and servanthood voice in the world, your strengths, the way your brain has actually been put together to communicate between the hemispheres of your brain, the talents that you've been given. It's like, whoa, all of that actually works together. And then I loved what I think it was Jen that talked about when she called in that, when she went through the most terrifying moments, season of her life of being abandoned in her marriage, and realizing that God has now actually even redeemed that greatest fear moment for her to give her greater purpose and to see her life even through a different lens now.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts of spiritual DNA is going through the passion and pain part. Because there's something about like mapping your life out. Because lots of us, I mean, I hadn't done it before I went through spiritual DNA. To like actually sat down to think through like what are the high points and what are the low points. And guess what? All of my high points had a theme. all of my low points had the same theme. And I was like, well, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, but if you don't take the time to do that, I mean, you don't really know. So as soon as I did that, man, my high points were always storytelling. I was either on the radio or on a stage or in conversation telling a story. And I'm like, okay, I'm a storyteller. And then naming it and leaning into it makes so much more sense. And it's so much more fun to lean into it. I have more confidence when I say I'm a storyteller because my past tells me I'm a storyteller. That's just
Right.
before I could even name it, I was it.
Yep.
So I love that about it.
Yeah, and you can't dig into any of this calling, vocation thing in isolation. I really don't think you can. Like last summer, I got an amazing opportunity to voice an animated character for a big company out of Dallas, their first big national TV campaign.
Hit us with a voice, Ryan.
Hi, Thrive! That's all I did. And they're like, here's money. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. This is kind of interesting.
Can I do that again, please?
Yeah. Do you need it again? But I was explaining this to my mom, how it all happened, and she's like, oh, that's not random at all. She's like, you need to remember. She was like, before you were like really into choir and performing, she was like, you were always entertaining the family as a kid. You were always making up silly voices and random characters. I'm like, what? And the more that she told me things that I couldn't even remember, I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So it was already in my spiritual DNA to be like you, Lisa, entertaining, a performer, an artist. And so, but one of the cool things about Spiritual DNA, the workshop, is that you really get to unpack this with a table of other people and a table leader who's gone through it and who's been trained in the curriculum and knows how to help you make sense of it. And it's not like you go to the seminar and it suddenly all makes sense. It's like we've got a coaching opportunity that people can sign up for too that really takes all your data, all your results, and helps you unpack it even more. So if you're on the fence, just go ahead and sign up. SpiritualDNA.me, save you $70 with the summer code SUMMER70, and then come to the live event. You can take the courses anytime you want. You can watch them on your phone. Anyway, I'm a natural evangelist, so I could go on and on and on and on about this, but it's changed every single one of our lives. Darren created it, but I remember being kind of one of your guinea pigs before you put it online, helping me through a series of like 6 months of lunches of really unpacking my results. And you will be amazed at the things that you learn about God and the things that you learn about yourself and who he's created you to be.
Well, I love, Ryan, the point you made about that it's already in you. I was actually having coffee this morning with somebody and reminding him that the main verse that is where I got the idea of spiritual DNA comes from 2 Peter 1, verses 3 through 5, where it says that Jesus has the power of God by which he's given us everything we need to live and to serve God. And like, you got to break that sentence down, that verse down, and listen to it. What it's saying is that when you enter a relationship with Jesus, he gives you, so if you're in a relationship with Jesus right now and he's brought your spirit to life, which was what happens, what Jesus says in John chapter 3, when he activates your spiritual DNA, when you are born again through the Spirit, is he gives you, his gift by bringing your spirit to life is he gives you everything you need to live and to serve God. So this process of becoming who you were born to be, it's not that you're going outside of yourself to discover it. It's already in you. Like what you're walking through right now, Ryan, like your mom going, yeah, that was in you at 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been in you.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're listening right now and you've been curious about God and you stumbled upon our show, thank you so much for listening. If you're at a place right now where you're like, I don't know that I believe in God and I'm not following him, here's what I want you to know. Everything that you need to become the person that God created you to be, whether you believe in him or not, it's in you. Mm-hmm. It just needs to be activated. Mm-hmm. It needs to be grown into. And a lot of that is finding ways that for one, it's coming to faith in Jesus, but then the process and the mechanism that brings it out, that manifests it, that actually brings maturity, is servanthood. Because both of you guys in your stories, it's like what is happening now in your life is, it's not like I'm just using my gifts to serve myself. You're getting a lot of fulfillment out of it, but you're using it to actually partner with God and serve others. Yep. And it's in that servanthood that you're seeing more and more opportunities and things break open.
Yeah, I was going to say too. Yeah, when I remember now, like in high school and in college, even as I was coming to maturity in this, like or maturity, I guess.
Do we have to say it like that now?
Maturity,
Okay.
yeah, is that I used to, and it's possible I still have this tendency to tell stories and like love the attention that I got because I was a good storyteller, and so that like fed the immature part of me for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
But now like shifting that, like I can look back and see the slow progression of maturity in that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been relieving, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes me think of this.
Spiritual DNA.
Gosh, that's tasty. So nice.
I love all the jingles you made for us, Ryan.
Well, you know what? It's. I somehow call it a job.
Here's another one. This will be debuted soon on Radio Theology. Oh, wait.
Jesus Juke.
Yeah, Jesus juke is when someone says something and then you're like, oh, really? Because the Bible says this about that. And it's like, oh, man, you just Jesus juked me. I think that's a John Acuff term.
I think you're
Maybe,
right.
yeah.
I like this one. This will be soon featured on Radio Theology as well.
Spiritual segue.
Oh, man, that guy's got a great little voice on him. That's like your Southern Baptist minister who also likes to sing Amazing Grace. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I like it. Hey, we also talked to Dave Neff this week from EdGec. We're
Great
so
guy.
stoked about that. If you listen to the Radio Theology podcast and you have liked the Born to Be interviews that we've done for the past, 2.5 years,
Yeah.
you're going to notice where you're downloading Behind the Mic is now, here's how things will work, is Mondays you're going to get highlights from Radio Theology or the show. Wednesdays, you're going to get this episode, Behind the Mic, and then Fridays, you're going to get the Born to Be interview on the Radio Theology podcast. So it'll all be in one place.
Yeah.
It'll be way more easy for you to stay connected. But we're going to have just a list of some dynamite folks coming up from this EdGec.
Oh, man.
You'll be able to sit down with Sage Steele again.
Yeah, from ESPN.
Bob Goff,
Great
Ian
guy.
Crone,
Woo.
Crone.
Cron.
Cron.
I think it's Ian Cron.
Crone.
Cron.
He's the Enneagram
Yeah.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So be looking for those. There are going to be some exciting new interviews coming from us here probably in the next couple months as we get to go to EdGec and be a part of that.
And hold us accountable. If we just listed all of those and we can't get the interviews,
Yeah.
sorry, we'll have to somehow get them.
We'll give you your money back. Oh, wait a second. It's free.
Yeah.
We also spent a half of the show in the 8 o'clock hour talking to Eric Maitland, one of our good friends and ministry partners here in Indianapolis. And Eric has become very, very passionate about of stepping into the battle with opiate addiction. He told the story about his niece overdosed on heroin. My cousin has battled heroin for years, and man, oh man, this event they're putting on September 26th here in Indianapolis. If you don't get a chance to see it now, if follow their website, go follow them, because I went to this thing, guys, and it's a genius idea. Eric takes hit songs. I mean, songs by Coldplay, Tom Petty, songs that you would love, Bruce Springsteen, and you're basically hearing this band perform as you're watching a movie, explaining the story, the problem, and the solution of the opiate epidemic. And when some of the music that is put together with some of the images and the facts that you see, I mean, if you don't want to cry, don't go see this. But I found myself overwhelmed with empathy and compassion and motivated to want to do something. Because as Eric shared, this is the leading cause right now of accidental death in our country, and it's not really getting better right now.
Right. Yeah. It seems to be getting worse, maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's just because people are starting to get the courage to talk about it, which is a great thing. And it is National Recovery Month this month. But I was just amazed that Eric said the recovery movement in America is like more than like millions strong because of all of the different people who are recovering, and then the loved ones who are supporting their recovery. It's mind blowing. But you think it's like he said, I mean, you think it's an inner city problem or it's a New York City problem, but it's a Carmel problem and a Fishers problem and a Portland, Indiana problem.
Yeah. Go to ourstory.ourtime.life. If you want more information, it's September 26, 2019, 6 to 8 p.m. at Mercy Road Church in Carmel. Again, ourstory.ourtime.life. It is a free all ages event. That being said, if you've got younger kids that you want to take and maybe use some discretion with the age there of who you bring. But it's
I
going to be a
could
great event.
It's an all ages deal, but I seeing it just speaking it as a dad here, I think it's probably a PG-13 event.
Yeah.
Just because of some of the images of addiction that you see, and that you got to get your mind and your emotions around. Obviously your discretion with your kids,
right?
But if they are 13 plus, get them there, especially if they're dealing with being offered drugs, offered pills as they're getting into their teen years. Like Eric said, the fact that junior high they had heroin at the junior high in Portland.
Yeah, we walked alongside a couple of our friends who, her brother, in high school was given. It wasn't even an addictive drug, or so he was told, and that was his first entree point into heroin addiction.
Wow!
But it's like he was in high school and he thought he was taking Adderall or something to focus, and he ended up addicted. And he stole money from them. He stole money from everybody. He was in and out of rehab, and it was just
wow.
It was insane. Like the way they were he was living with them, and they were locking up all of their stuff and their money, and they were living in fear and helplessness. Like they didn't know what to do for him until he got into Teen Challenge, and he went through that. Like it's a live-in intensive program and recovered. But I remember her telling me that he said every day he's sober, he wishes he was either dead or on heroin again. And then any day he's on heroin, he wishes he were dead or sober.
Gosh.
Like I can't even, how you live like that. But he's now years recovered. He just got married last month. And it was just a huge celebration because, they thought they would have lost him a million times over.
Wow. I've got a buddy who was not addicted to opioids or heroin or anything like that, but did pretty gateway drugs, smoked a lot of weed, drank, probably did coke a handful of times, but he down in Kentucky. And he said before he knew Jesus, the thing that the way that the gospel was not spoken to him but shown to him was through the absolute persistence and faithfulness and loyalty of his mom and dad. He said, I think like the third time he was in jail for something stupid that he did when he was high or drunk, they kept showing up and they kept taking him home and they kept loving him. And he was like that persistent, non-judgmental, because I was an addict to some kind of high, he said that woke me up to this unconditional, absolutely unfailing love of God through Jesus. And both his parents were believers, and we're trying multiple different ways of how do we share the truth with him. And really, it wasn't them opening up their Bible. It was them being the light of Jesus in their own son's world in a dark night of the soul for him. And that's what woke him up. And so I think it's cool what Eric Maitland and his team are doing by being the church, and like not waiting for some government agency to take care of this problem. But he's like, this isn't just, some distant issue. This is like in my old hometown. This is in my family. And if not me, then who then is gonna do something about it?
I wanted to bring the two topics together. What I see with this is that, Eric is responding to pain in his family. He's not a heroin addict or recovering heroin addict, but he's responding to a need, being the hands and feet of Jesus, doing what Jesus would do, representing God as an ambassador, as the word teaches us that we are. And we talk about that in spiritual DNA. And Eric is using his spiritual DNA to meet this need.
Yeah.
He's using the talents and the abilities. He's giving God all the good stuff of his life. Here's my musical talents. Here's my creative talents. Here's my, my sense of calling as a missionary to bring to this. And through that, he's actually changing the world. And the other side of this is in our hope with spiritual DNA and what we do with this radio show, and is that maybe you're listening right now and maybe you are working through recovering from an addiction. Maybe you're in the throes of it right now. Is what I want to encourage you is, as you come through this and the power of Jesus and community and recovery groups, the process you take to get clean is don't forget in that process that your life is so much more than just getting clean, but to discover your purpose through that and to realize that God is probably going to invite you to come alongside other people on that journey. because the pain that you're experiencing, you're going to be the greatest authority to step in with compassion and empathy.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
As someone else is walking through that.
Totally. Yeah. To be able to know, I've walked in your shoes. I've walked that road.
Yeah, and there's some kind of quote, I'm trying to remember it, and I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to go for it anyway. It's something about the power of someone who's been to hell and on their way back grabs a bucket of water to throw on and help someone who's on their way. It's I need to find it. It's It's just a beautiful picture of, man, if you've been there, it's your job, it's your duty, responsibility to pick up a bucket of water and help someone who's there now or on their way.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis says, friendship is born at the moment when one person says to another, "What, you two? I thought I was the only one."
That's good.
It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You had me in
Good,
quote
good,
mode
good.
there, Lisa. I had to look it up.
Hey, listen, we really appreciate you downloading the podcast, and we would love to hear from you. We talk with you, and our brains, you're responding to us each and every week, but we would really love to actually hear from you. How is God using the podcast to encourage you? Are there other topics you'd like to hear us talk about? Are there ways we can pray for you? You can reach out to us just through Facebook if you want on radiotheology.com, or you can send us an email, Ryan, Lisa, Daron, just our first name, at blackbirdmission.com. We would love to talk to you, to pray for you, and just allow this to be more of a thing that we're doing together, where it's not just we create this content and you consume it, but that we're able to share together what God's doing and how He's teaching us and guiding and directing us. So please reach out to us, and if you could do us a favor, if you like the podcast, jump on iTunes and review it and rate it for us. Maybe share it with some friends, because we really believe that there are a lot of people out there that might really be encouraged and probably need a little more faith, hope, and love in their life. And we'd love to allow you the privilege to be a part of sharing that with your buddies or your sisters or your dads or well, you probably only have one dad, but I mean, I'm just
Maybe you got a stepdad.
you could. You can share it with all the dads in your life. But anyway, it's been a blast to be with you. Hope you're having a great week, and hope you've enjoyed your workout, your lawn mowing, your jog, your drive to work. When else do you listen to podcasts?
I'm a cut the grass podcast guy.
Me too.
Yeah, or in the car.
I want you to, if you're cutting the grass, stop right now and just take a look at your work. Those are straight lines.
Way to go.
Way to go.
So good.
Now, don't forget, next week you got to mow it, crisscross.
The other way.
The other way.
Yeah.
Get the cool lines.
Yeah. Make it look like a watermelon. Wait,
What?
like the outside of a watermelon, like when it's
Oh,
light
boy.
green and then
Huh?
dark green
I
when
have
you go
never
down and then you come
once
back.
thought about watermelon in
Oh,
my
dude, I look
grass.
out at the grass and I'm like, that looks like the outside of a watermelon. I've
No.
cut that so well.
I look at it and think, that looks like a baseball field that I need to go take grounders on.
All right. Well, to each their own.
Sports balls.
Don't judge my watermelon lawn mowing techniques.
Whatever way you see your yard. Have a great week. We appreciate you listening to the Behind the Mic podcast, and we'll talk to you next week. Until we talk to you, never forget this. God's for you, not against you. He's near you, not far from you. And He has created you on purpose and for a purpose.